Welcome back to part 3 of us interviewing Nate, who has not seen any of the Star Wars franchise until just recently. So this is a really interesting 3-part video that we've done at this point. So if you haven't watched part 2 or part 1, we'll put a link and go back and watch it and just getting his thoughts. First time he's seen the movies, and we wanted to get his input and his perspective because he's watching them in chronological order. So we kind of wondered, what would it be like to go back at this age and be able to watch them? So that's where we are on this. So today we are diving into episode 3.
Yeah.
Episode 3.
Yeah.
So this is going to be interesting. So, yeah, Revenge of the Sith. Right?
Right.
Yeah.
That'd be embarrassing if you said that wrong.
No, I want to make sure, Zach, because he had that glazed look on his. Yeah, he had his glazed look on his face again. Just double checking.
That's because you're talking.
Yes, probably. So, all right, well, let's get this party started. Hey, we noticed too that a lot of you guys are not subscribed. So why don't you just run down there to the bottom and hit that subscribe button and like the video while you're down there. Let's get the show rolling.
All right. So, episode 3.
Yes.
So, coming from 2 of us here, that's our second favorite movie. And then the loser on the right, I think it's like his 4th. I don't know.
Oh,
But,
okay. So far, this is my favorite episode
okay.
of the 3. This is my favorite one because there's a lot of plot
Oh, absolutely.
twists. Yep. There's a lot of development in that.
Uh-huh.
We'd all agree with you on that.
Oh, absolutely. So, we'll dive right into it.
Yeah.
So, right off the bat, coming in at the beginning.
Yeah.
That time gap that occurs. I think we talked about this from 1 to 2.
Yeah.
The time gap that occurs from 2 to 3.
2 to 3, yeah.
Coming straight into that battle scene above Coruscant.
Yeah.
Just gut reaction right off the bat.
It did a very good job of capturing chaos, right? Because, I mean, it just immerses you immediately into, oh, they're in the middle of this big battle. And granted, it's in the sky, but it's still a battle, right?
Mm.
And it just throws you right into it. The thing that I thought was interesting was going from that into coming right back to it. And they were like, oh, we've been battling for, however long. And he's been on the outer rim for, the sieges or whatever they wanted to call them. I thought it was interesting that they did that again, right? Like they took a time break, so to speak, in between the 2 movies.
Mhm.
And you just have to assume things happened and you don't really know in between. So,
Well, and that's where the Clone Wars cartoon series comes in, because that'll cover from the end of episode 2 to the beginning of episode 3.
okay.
That's going to be your Clone Wars. You see a lot of growth and dissension in Anakin's character
Absolutely.
through the Clone Wars.
Okay.
You also meet a character that if you just watch straight through the movies, you won't see, unless you watch TV shows, Ahsoka. She is a character that's completely fleshed out through the animated series, but we're not gonna run down that rabbit hole.
Right.
And adults watching cartoons is usually not.
Never know. So one thing that I will ask, and this has been bugging me, Mr. Grievous, General Grievous, right? Why does it sound like he's SCOPD?
Again, animated. So there was the big Clone Wars that had several series.
Uh-huh.
Then there was the old animated Clone Wars, and an explanation in that was
What? Yeah. We're going way.
there's 2 different
Yeah, there was
animated
two
Clone Wars
series.
series. There was a short one that was on Cartoon Network.
Yep.
And within that, I believe it was
Mace Windu.
Mace Windu when Grievous was trying to escape. Mace Windu crushed his chest.
Yep.
See, I thought he was a robot. So the whole time I'm like, number 1, why is he coughing if he's a robot? Number 2, why is he coughing incessantly? And then it was never answered. They just killed him, and I was like, okay, well, I guess we don't know that.
Again,
so
Another character.
it's a further development.
Yeah.
Another character that was more prevalent in
Gotcha.
the cartoon than he was in the
All right.
episode.
So explain to me the relationship between Dooku and Palpatine. Because I'm very confused, because it was supposed to be his...
So based off of only the movies,
Yeah.
So let's not dive too far in the weeds of the Clone Wars, where
Okay.
again it was fleshed out.
See, I'm looking for answers that aren't there.
Right, you are. But so Dooku was a fallen Jedi who was coerced over by Darth Sidious,
Mm-hmm.
Palpatine with his cape up, hood up, and he basically had him running running the separatist army and that sort of thing. So it's really not that deep. Dooku did not agree with the Jedi way.
Right.
He thought that they should be different than what they were during all this peacekeeping time and generals and
Right.
all that. So,
But were they vying for control of the Empire?
no, Dooku was not.
So why Dooku capture him? And
Well, if you go way into the weeds and the other stuff in the lore, Dooku was actually trying to bring more stability back to the galaxy. He was not a good guy. He wasn't a bad guy.
he was like a chaotic.
Well,
like
he also believed that the Jedi too were not following what the Jedi code was. Right?
Correct.
Which-
Yeah.
Like they had become
Well, they became
an enforcement
Right.
wing of the
Republic.
Republic,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
that was not their
Well, he's not
original
wrong.
intention. No, no.
And
No, he
tells-
wasn't.
He tells him, he was like, hey, I think it was in the second or first, I can't remember, but he tells him, hey, the Republic's under the control of a Sith Lord.
Right.
I don't understand why they were in that moment, why he was like, hey, he's the Sith Lord.
So Dooku actually didn't know that Palpatine was
Oh,
Sidious.
was he? Okay.
correct. As a viewer, I think it was meant to be that you shouldn't have known Palpatine was Darth Sidious until the moment
He
he
revealed it.
revealed it and killed Mace Windu. Basically, at that juncture in there is when you go, oh,
Well, Mace Windu, Kit Fisto,
well, yeah,
all the other
yeah,
ones.
yeah.
Mace Windu dying
Mhm.
made me very, very sad because Samuel L. Jackson's never got to say his famous punchline.
You just didn't hear it as he was falling down.
Yeah,
It just echoed.
Yeah, you got to turn the volume way up.
I guess, because I was like, no, there he goes. He didn't say
Yeah.
it. All right.
Yeah. So
It's a shame. Wasted opportunity.
it was for a kid's show.
What was the biggest surprise throughout the storyline of that third movie to you? What really kind of
So I had kind of pieced together that Anakin was going to be Darth Vader. I mean, I knew because of just general knowledge that Vader was Luke Skywalker's father. Anakin Skywalker, the same last name, the whole galaxy. I'm kind of like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. I really liked his arc into Vader.
Mm-hmm.
Like I thought they did a very good job of showing his inner turmoil. Because at first he runs to Mace Windu. He's like, Palpatine's the Sith Lord we've been looking for, and then goes back on it because he wants to save Padme and kills, doesn't kill him, but lets him kill him. So I don't know that the only surprise that I got was a question that I had through the whole thing when Anakin and Palpatine are sitting in the whatever picture show or like the circus Soleil
whatever
thing,
light
whatever
nonsense that
right?
was?
Yeah.
He's talking about Darth Plagueis, is that right?
Plagueis.
Plagueis, okay. So is Plagueis Anakin's quote unquote father?
No,
Or
but yes, but
did
no.
did Plagueis teach Sidious how to do that, how to do the midichlorians, and then
Midichlorians, yes,
Whatever.
yes.
Yeah.
Midichlorians is
you're
that
close, man.
and then Sidious conceived Anakin? Because they said in the first movie he was just immaculate.
conceived of the Force.
Right.
Yeah.
So in the book Darth Plagueis, it is actually Plagueis who it's alluded to that he actually created Anakin, not intentionally created him, but just reached out to the Force,
Okay.
created life somewhere, somehow, so great book, by the way. Great book,
Okay.
Darth Plagueis.
All right, because
Yeah.
if they were sitting there, he said it, and I was like, "Oh, wait a minute, that's what happened to him." So, to me,
Right.
it kind of made sense.
Right. So yes, he was conceived, at least in that particular book, by
But
Darth Plagueis,
okay,
who was Palpatine's master.
master, yeah,
Right.
that makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
All right,
So talking about Anakin's descent into the dark side.
Yeah.
Seeing him go, and I'm gonna butcher the actual process of it. Love leads to hate, hate leads to suffering, and suffering leads to the dark side, or something like that. It was close enough.
It's close enough. Yeah. I don't know it
I
exactly.
mean,
Fear.
seeing
it starts with fear,
leads to hate.
Yeah.
Hate leads to anger.
Yeah.
Anger leads to suffering.
and jealousy is like a distant cousin or
Yeah.
close cousin, or something,
Yeah.
right?
Go ahead.
seeing him like through that last movie go through all of those steps
Mhm.
was that like thinking of how the Jedi Order operates and how you see things function, seeing what they say is going to happen.
Yeah.
How did that make me see the Jedi Order then at that point, knowing that they were actually right, even though they still had changed what they were? I mean, changed what they were from peacekeepers to warriors.
Mhm.
Right. I think they are a little hypocritical,
Mhm.
the Jedi Order, or at least to this point where some of them were, because they wanted to satisfy their own need, whatever that was. In their case, it wanted to be peace, which is a good thing. But the
Hypocritical?
hypocriticism, is that a word?
Hypocrisy?
Hypocrisy. Thank you.
Hypocrisy, yeah.
I was like, I'm blanking. I'm drawing a blank. The hypocrisy was kind of strong, I felt like. But overall, I feel like they did a good job of showing that there was not one single person to blame for the whole issue. Like, that was one of the thoughts that stood out to me was, obviously most of the Darth Sidious, it's his bad, right? Like, there's no redeeming factor there. Anakin, he could have changed the outcome,
Mhm.
right? But the Jedi Order, they needed to produce peace, and they weren't doing a very good job of it. The Jedi Order brought him in when they probably shouldn't have, right? Obi-Wan should not have trained him,
Right?
right? Even though he thought he was the one of
The chosen one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Padme shouldn't have married him,
Right.
right?
Well, he shouldn't have married Padme, probably more that
Yeah, that's-
direction.
that's
'Cause
true.
He shouldn't have
She could
the
have said
attachment
no.
thing, but
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, what outcome did she expect? Right? Like, we're just going to live forever in secrecy and be happy? No,
Right.
it wasn't going to happen, right? So it just kind of compiles. It shows
Bad
how, like,
decision.
it wasn't
Yeah.
one bad decision that led to this. So
Yeah.
that was,
Yeah.
I felt like that was very realistic in a plot point.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump to Order 66.
Yeah, I finally get a bunch of memes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
Order 6. Here's the question. What was Order 1 through 65?
Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't think it mattered.
Like, this was backup plan X number of times, or was this just in his?
I wonder if it's. I think it's probably just a code name. I mean, who's going to say execute Order 66 randomly on the battlefield?
One is Palpatine needs his feet rubbed. Two,
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was. I think it was meant to be more of just a code name, because I always wondered that too.
Yeah.
What were the other
Yeah.
65 orders? Now go watch Robot Chicken, and
They
they
have-
do a musical about
all the orders.
all the orders.
Yeah,
yes, Palpatine singing and
Yes.
dancing.
Okay.
Yes, that is not canon. It is not,
Right.
but it's hilarious.
It is hilarious.
And I think that gives you good insight to executive orders, right?
Sure.
Jar Jar Binks screwed it up. He's
Sure.
another one to blame. He gave Palpatine
Unlimited power.
unlimited
This-
power.
Uh-huh.
Thank
To
you,
the
buddy.
Senate. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's just screwed up.
Yes. Yeah. Which makes you appreciate the way Palpatine rose to power.
Yeah.
Because he was he had all these dark webbed
No,
strings.
he was puppet master
Yeah.
the entire time.
It
Yeah.
was really good.
Let's take that what you just said and caveat, even though we didn't really talk too much about 66, other than kind of just threw it.
Yeah.
And,
Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. So when it happened, were you surprised that these awesome fighting machines
Yeah, they
that are
just turned.
Jedi just fell down and went boom by a bunch of clone troopers?
Yeah, it confirms who put in the order for their purchase, right?
Yeah. Right.
Right. It was like, oh, okay, you're definitely working for him.
yeah.
And they knew it the whole time, because obviously at any point he could have said that, and they just turned on him. And all of them knew it.
Yeah.
All of them knew it. They were
Okay,
he was
so-
like, do it.
They didn't know.
They didn't know.
Clones did not know. Clones had a
Yeah. You're getting in. Yes. The clones had no idea.
they had a,
They were activated.
they were grown with a like inhibitor chip in their heads.
Oh,
So as soon as that
interesting.
Order 66, that was probably really
That's
loud.
probably
I
really
apologize.
loud.
As soon as that Order
Amateur
66
hour.
was heard, it's pretty much just a shut off in all of their heads
Yep.
that
Kill the
anybody that's a Jedi is going to die. Anybody that helps Jedi is going to
Interesting.
die.
Interesting. Okay. See, I was under the impression, because I didn't get that insight from the movie,
Yeah.
that they all just knew, like, hey,
Right. No.
we're going to do this at some point.
Right.
No, think of it like
That would have been a lot more cruel.
Yeah, well, I was like, all right, good. I mean,
one day I'm going to kill you.
mhm,
Yep.
yeah.
Think about during the Cold War, they talked a lot about like sleeper agents
Yeah.
and stuff like that, where they'd get a phone call, they'd get told a word. Yes, in a sense, they knew that was going to be coming. They were waiting for that word to come.
Yeah.
But
They didn't know what they would do. Okay.
they didn't know it was going to happen until Order 66 occurred.
It was definitely a surprise. It was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, they're going to kill the Jedi now. So
Yep.
I mean, one of my favorite scenes in Star Wars, again, personal favorite scene, is Anakin in the 501st marching up the stairs of the Jedi Temple.
right,
I was
It's a
like,
great vision.
that is just cool.
Yeah.
And then he, kills some kids. So
yeah, that was dark. That went dark real quick.
Well, and they almost needed to though at
Yeah.
that point because that was his full transition.
Solidifying
He
that he
no
was-
longer
Yeah.
You can't
There
come
was-
back.
he's not
you,
human.
You can't come back from that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that was your point of no return.
Yeah.
So also, droids.
Yes.
If you're gonna make a droid army, make them sound menacing.
Roger, Roger.
Roger, Roger. Like,
Yeah.
what? You could have controlled them. Program their voice to be
Again,
like,
comic relief.
yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I-
Better than Jar Jar.
Well, that's true.
Well, no, you'd make them look like Terminators or something like that.
That's true. They also look pretty weak. Although the like no-headed
Super
ones,
battle
the super
droids.
battle
Yeah.
those are pretty cool.
Yeah.
The
I will give them that. That
Yeah.
was pretty cool.
the B2s was the B2
Yep,
super battle
B2
droid?
super battle droid.
And then there was the destroyers, the droidicars,
Yeah.
and the droidicas, or
Droidicas.
Those are the rolling ones, right?
The rolling ones are awesome.
the shields.
Yeah.
Yep.
They
Yep.
so, anyway.
Okay, so we've gone through Order 66. Something you brought up earlier. What did you think of Palpatine's manipulation of the Republic and his rise of power?
Yeah, I mean he played the game, right? Like
The long game.
he played a long
Absolutely,
game. He played a very good long game.
Mhm.
But you think about, okay, so obviously this is probably structured after 1938 Germany, right? To a certain extent.
Sure, man, he just pulls stuff out of left field. I'm just telling you.
Chancellor, really? Come on. But like that's real life. Like that happened, right? He
Mhm.
came into power in 1938. The war didn't actually start until war didn't for us didn't start until 1941, right? Like there was a long period of time, almost a decade, where Adolf Hitler is creating his plans, and even before that, he was setting everything up.
Yeah.
So I mean, they played on that. They definitely took the realisticness of, hey, this
Mhm.
takes a while to corrupt a government from the inside.
Yep.
Oh man, that one went quicker than I thought. I know in excuse you.
Excuse me.
I know in
Sorry.
the first movie you said your favorite character was young Anakin.
Oh yeah.
Who did we ask you that question for the second movie? I don't remember.
I don't think
I
we
don't
did actually.
think that we did. I'm trying to think of my favorite. Probably Obi-Wan. It probably
Obi-Wan.
shifted, or Yoda. I feel like Yoda is the
Okay, so then
Actually, you may have answered that. as
enigmatic,
Yoda.
like.
Yeah.
I think the first one he said young Anakin.
Oh yeah,
and
young
Yoda.
young Anakin was my favorite by far.
So then 2, you're gonna say Obi-Wan and Yoda. Kind of.
Yeah.
Okay, so then 3.
3 would be. I don't know because there's a lot of like to a lot of them. There was a lot of pain points in them. Obi-Wan probably still.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's trying, like you could tell he's trying.
Yeah.
Right? Like he is trying to do the right thing at all times. And he's also torn. Right? Like he helped raise this kid and train him, but he knows in the end he goes to get him on the lava planet.
Mm-hmm.
Mustafar.
Well, even when he's screaming him after the fight, he said that he was his brother.
Yeah.
All that. I mean.
Yeah.
But he knows he's got to kill him.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He even tells Padme. Well, he doesn't
Which-
tell her, but
Which he fails.
which he
Just a nice little extra
in all
lightsaber right
fairness,
through
he thought
the.
he did it.
True.
I mean, the dude's on
Yeah.
fire.
I know, but sitting there writhing in pain should have put him out of his misery. But
He did it. He did it because he knew it was the right.
Now we're into how it should have ended podcast.
that's true.
Yeah.
That is true. That is true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So at the end of the movie,
Yeah.
with Padme dying,
Yeah.
how much sense did that make to you?
So this is one of my points and my thoughts. I'm glad you brought this up. So was that, I'm not going to say predestination. Was that going to happen regardless, right?
Well, she wasn't around. She's not around because 4, 5, and 6 came out in 70s and 80s.
Right.
She wasn't around then, so
Right.
they had to find a convenient, quick way to
To kill
offer
her off. My
Well-
thing is like,
Well, and Luke is with Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru
Mhm.
at the beginning of 4. So
And Anakin's met or Padme's met them. So
Yeah.
what you would have had a weird
right,
time explaining how he got to them if
right.
but
My-
she
my
they
thing
don't
is,
kill her.
So Did Anakin force her into death by choking her out? Like send her into early pregnancy, and then like
Mhm.
obviously they said we don't know what's wrong with her. She lost her will to live. So her losing the will to live was because of Anakin.
Mhm.
Her probably going into early labor was because of Anakin choking her.
Mhm.
But was all of that predestined and made, seeable to Anakin in the dreams? Or were those dreams given to him by Palpatine to make him
Okay,
want
so
the
I
idea to
Yeah,
save
yeah.
her?
So the visions and the dreams were, yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's an interesting point.
Yeah. So did Palpatine give him those dreams?
Yeah.
I mean, it's somewhat makes sense.
He knew
kind of
about
a
him.
little push to get, we need you
Potentially,
to go
yeah.
down that direction.
Well, it was leverage.
Yeah. Well, and you also have to remember
because otherwise he never would have thought that Palpatine needed to stay alive because he'd never been
Yeah,
worried
it was
about
leverage.
her dying.
right? I never thought of Palpatine actually being the one who.
I mean, you don't know it, but
I mean, that's all fan theory.
But it does.
Well, you're
make
also
a fair amount
forgetting.
of sense.
You're also forgetting something very important in all this is they talk about the Force and the predestiny of the Force, and so I've always wondered if maybe the Force. So they talk about bringing balance. Sorry if this is one of your questions, but they talk about bringing balance to the Force.
Mhm.
Did Anakin, the chosen one, did he bring balance to the Force at the end of all this, or did he fail? From what you remember from the movie.
So I would say that he did not,
Okay. And any reason for that?
because the Siths.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, now hold on. Because the Jedi were in power.
Well, how many Sith are there at any given time?
He doesn't know the rule of two.
Okay. There's only two.
I don't know. Okay, there's
There's only two
Master and
Sith.
apprentice.
Master. Oh, okay. I see.
Dooku was never Sith, so Grievous is not Sith. It was always two.
Okay.
So that's the rule of two for the Sith.
So
So it would have
he
been
did.
Sidious and Maul, and then
And then Maul died.
he's absent an
An
apprentice.
apprentice. So you took on Anakin.
And then
He did bring
he
back.
wants the stronger
Maybe,
apprentice, so that's
right?
why he had Anakin kill Dooku. That's why he says, "Kill him, do it." Because
Interesting.
Yeah, just a thought. I mean, that's not
Well, and,
necessarily anything.
I mean,
definitively proven.
By the end of the movie, you have Palpatine, Vader,
Yeah.
and you have
Obi-Wan and Yoda, basically.
Obi-Wan and Yoda are basically the only two. So,
Yeah.
I mean, theoretically,
Yeah,
you could call it balanced.
exactly.
Interesting. Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, from the movie, my assumption was that Palpatine had given him those dreams because he knew about them. He said, I forget how he worded it, but it was essentially, you've been having these dreams about Padme.
Right.
And he's like, if you want to save her, I know how to do it.
Now, see, that's interesting because I always thought maybe he had shared that with Palpatine off screen because he was his confidant at that
Mhm.
point.
Could be.
So it's interesting that you view it that way because I hadn't thought of it from your perspective.
Because the only other person he told, and he didn't even tell him, he alluded to, was Yoda.
Uh-huh.
Right? He alluded to premonitions of
Right.
somebody close to him dying.
Well, and
Mhm.
that was a thing, right? There's the strongly attuned people with the Force can have
Yeah, they can have
premonitions.
visions.
So
Yeah. Mhm.
that wasn't like a out of left field type of.
Right. And Yoda obviously knew something was wrong before, like when 66
66.
was executed,
Mhm.
before they even turned on him, he knew he stumbled and he could
Yep.
feel it. So
Something was going on.
Yeah.
That's when he killed the younglings, I believe, is
That's
when
right,
he had his stumbling moment.
yep.
And then, yes, he sensed that the clones were about ready to try to take him out.
Did his awesome little move and decapitated two of them.
It was a good
I
one.
like how the Wookiees didn't even flinch. They were like, "Yep, okay, we're getting them off the planet."
Yes.
Yeah.
uh-oh.
Right. That's my
Yep.
Wookiee impression. It's not very good. I'll work on it.
We're going to have to put that in the intro now.
It's a sad Wookiee.
Yeah. Oh, man.
What else you got?
Is there anything you disliked about this one?
And knowing that there are more movies coming, no. If it had just been those three, I would have been like, oh, that's disappointing. But knowing that there are more, I'm going to say no.
Okay.
So I was pretty happy with, like I said, this was probably my favorite one so far. So
Yeah. They did a pretty good job of wrapping everything up. End of episode 3. Now, when you move into episode 4, you're getting a whole new fresh start because it's older than the original. or
right.
than the-
And another big
Prequels.
time jump.
yeah, huge time jump.
Okay. Well, and I have to say the Vader reveal, even though I kind of deduced that, was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like the breathing,
Yeah.
that was cool.
So the whole no, that bothered me. I didn't like that he did that,
Yeah.
but I have actually come to peace with it over the years. It's just very uninflected, and I get why, but
The no didn't bother me. It was the like
Oh,
Frankenstein
Frankenstein
step
one.
off the thing.
see, that didn't bother me because he was the first time in his suit. He had no idea how to control it.
That's true.
I mean, you know,
Okay, so I take my last.
And Dan got new legs.
Yeah, I take my last answer back. Was there anything I didn't like? And this is probably a terrible criticism. The acting in some of the portions was just awful.
yeah.
Like Palpatine when Mace Windu's killing him.
Oh,
I can't carry on. Yeah,
Yeah.
Just his whole thing was like, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm too weak. Yeah, it just wasn't good. And then when he killed Mace Windu like yelled something, and it was just kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
The acting was not the best.
Right.
Which you're there for the plot and the fun. You're not there to win a Grammy or whatever,
Right.
Oscar, whatever the one they give.
Tony.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Any one of those
Any got-
TV
one of the
music
gods.
award,
Yes,
anything.
Yes.
Yes.
but
I mean, apart from that, there's not really much more on the paper.
What do you think about the music, the score?
I think the score's really, really cool. Because they obviously incorporate parts of like theme song in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
The whole orchestral like feel to it makes it very
No, it's got an intensity to it.
yeah.
It
It makes it very singular to those movies,
Right.
right? Like one of my wife's biggest complaints of me watching movies is like, have you ever seen A Knight's Tale? This is way
Oh, of
off
course.
topic.
Yeah.
They use like today's
Yeah.
music, right?
Uh-huh.
Which is fun. It's a lighthearted movie.
Mhm.
Drives her nuts.
Really?
Drives her nuts, and she's like, "This is a dumb movie," doing that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the score in Star Wars with the orchestral, that is Star Wars, right? Like
Yeah.
it's not. I don't know. It just seems.
No, so the music for episode 1, 2, and 3 is actually completely different from 4, 5, and 6, and again completely different for 7, 8, and 9. They do have a common thread occasionally that will appear here and there
Okay.
in those scores, but no, John Williams is the composer of that. Jaws, Indiana Jones. I mean, you name
Oh, he
it.
did like all of
Back to the Future. Yeah, you name it.
Jurassic Park.
That's
Yeah,
pretty cool.
he's done it. Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Well, he did a good job. Good job,
Yeah.
John.
I'm sure you'll appreciate
Well
that.
done, buddy.
All right. Does that pretty much wrap it up?
I mean, other than just some little questions here and there, he already said that he knows there's more Star Wars movies, so that already kind of wraps up. Does this make you want to see more?
Yeah.
So-
Like I'm going to continue on and
Continue
watch.
on seeing
Yeah.
more, so that means more
Yeah.
episodes for
Yeah.
us. So
Right. And I think what the chronological order that I'm going off of says is the next one
Solo.
is to go to Solo and then Rogue
Rogue
One.
One.
And
Correct.
then go,
I can't wait till you get to
Yeah.
Rogue One.
And
so
Solo's fun. It's not groundbreaking or anything. It's okay. It's a good movie. There's nothing wrong with it.
now,
But
Solo is Harrison Ford's character later on, right?
Yes,
correct.
All right, that makes sense.
Correct.
There's literally a picture behind you with
Well, there's a mannequin behind you.
Harrison Ford as his
Yes.
counsel.
There is a Harrison standing
Right,
there
there you
too.
go.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. So
Yeah.
it introduces his character.
Right.
Yeah, it's total character introduction there.
Cool. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Side plot line.
Rogue One is 100% plot to give you
Episode 4.
context to the beginning of episode 4.
Okay.
I mean, literally, it ends. Episode 4 begins.
Okay.
I mean, there's no time difference. It's pretty much dunk dunk.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, there's like a 15-minute time difference from the time that
And
the Tantive 4 escapes and Vader recaptures it.
Yeah.
So it's within 24 hours easy.
Gotcha.
So-
Cool. Well, cool. All right. One of the characters I do like, and we haven't covered him, is the Senator Ortega. Is that right? How do you say that?
Organa.
Bail
Oh,
Organa.
Bail Organa.
Ortega. I
Yeah.
don't know,
Yeah.
Ortega. I think it's an actual.
I think that's
senator.
a taco shell.
No, I think that's an actual senator. Senator Organa. I liked his character because he saw through a lot of that.
Right.
And I mean, yes, he sided with the Jedis eventually, but he saw that there was a lot of corruption, a lot of things going on. So he kind of parted ways with his I don't want to say he parted ways with his duty, because I think in the end he was there to keep the Republic going.
Right.
But he parted way with the rest of the Republic going towards the Empire. So
Yeah. No, he's the arguably ultimate good guy in all this.
okay.
I mean,
That's another thing. Sorry, I keep thinking.
no,
of my
you're
thoughts.
fine.
I
I
one of
keep
the
thinking my thoughts. That was the deepest thing I've heard all night.
yeah, you're welcome for that. Padme, my favorite line in the movie was Padme saying that this is how
Yeah.
diplomacy ends.
Thunderous
with
applause.
thunderous applause.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's a
It's
great
like-
line. There's a couple good lines in that.
All right,
Yeah.
that's fair. That kind of captured up that whole like long-term corruption. You know,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
she nailed.
No,
nailed
they all thought they were doing the right thing.
hit the nail on the head on that one.
Mhm.
So very
Yep.
cool.
All right. Well, sadly, I think we're at the end.
Yeah, no, yeah.
I mean, it's an easy one.
Surprisingly, the episode that we
Yes.
thought was going to take a long time, that was pretty darn quick.
It was
Yeah.
pretty quick, I
For,
think.
for as much happens in that episode, I mean, it does kind of, you're almost like at the end of the episode going, holy crap, that just happened.
Yeah, a
And,
lot of stuff.
it's done.
Yep. So,
Cool.
well, hey, we thank you again for this, and I can't wait to sit back down. We might even be able to wrap up Solo and Rogue One, kind of potentially in a double. I don't know. I don't want to cheapen Rogue One.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I will watch Solo next, and
Yep.
then we'll reconvene.
Again, just have fun with Solo.
Okay.
It's not.
Maybe what I'll do is I'll watch Solo and Rogue One, and then if we need to break up the episodes, we can break up the episodes.
You'll probably want to break it up for Rogue One. It
Okay.
was.
You'll like Rogue One.
It
It's
was good.
it's a war movie in the Star Wars universe. It's
Okay.
not.
It's a good one.
It's
It's dirty. It's grimy. It's
Mhm.
Okay.
yeah. It was well done. I think final product. So,
Cool.
all right. Well, hey guys, thanks for joining us again, and we'll make sure that when Nate watches Solo, we'll sit back down here at the table and we'll have another conversation. Until then, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, leave a comment. We always like to respond to your comments, and we'll see you in the next video.